Guys, I am reporting to you live from my car. This is another one of my car chats where I sit in my car, sometimes with a cup of coffee, and talk about something that's on my mind. So I hope you all are doing well and having a great week. I was driving to go get my coffee, and I was thinking back to when I first went full-time reselling back in July of 2017. That's when I actually had left my job and became a full-time reseller. If you're curious to hear more about that story, check out this recent video that I did on it. But anyways, when I went full-time, I was reflecting back now on how it wasn't initially successful. And when I say initially, I actually mean really the first couple of months. And if I'm being truly honest with myself, it was really my first 6 months. And the reason why I think it wasn't successful for me in the beginning is for two reasons. The first reason is that I didn't treat it like a real job, okay? So I hate to use the term real job because this is a very real job for me. I make very real income from it. I run a very real business. However, if we're going to compare it to traditional 9-to-5 jobs that people have, I didn't treat it like that. And to be honest, I think when I left my job, I was really just wanting to maybe detox from the corporate world. I wanted to take a breath. The job that I was working in human resources, one of the things that was my responsibility was running payroll. And when you do payroll, we paid employees twice a month, and I was the only one who did payroll and the only one who really knew how to do payroll. And for that reason, I kind of never could really take a true vacation, or I always had to plan a vacation in a way where, I was coming back or leaving in these spans of time. So it really couldn't take significant amount of time off is what I'm saying. And so when I left that job, I just wanted to take a big breather. And to be honest, I actually ended up taking a 2 or 3 week vacation not long after I left that job. And it was great. But then when I came back from that vacation, I think I took another vacation. And then when I came back from that, I found myself on the couch a lot. And yes, I was listing. I think I was listing on my phone, which is so funny because I never really list on my phone anymore. I do it all from a computer. However, I would sit on my couch and list. And I remember watching that show. I think it's called Riverdale. Is that the one where it's like Archie and Veronica and all that stuff? Clearly I don't continue to watch that, but I remember sitting on my couch watching that and just chilling out and thinking, oh, I'm living the life. But let's be honest, my sales weren't where I needed them to be, and I wasn't necessarily making the income that I wanted to be making. And so thinking back on that, it really wasn't until probably 3 to 6 months later that I kicked it into gear and really started creating a process for myself, which is kind of part two, is that I didn't have a plan or a process for myself. Now, you don't walk into a job and they just say, here is job, you do it. I mean, sometimes they do, but generally there's some training and expectations that come with it, performance expectations that come with this new position that you take on. And because of those things, you kind of have an idea of what things you need to get done every day to keep your part of the business going in some way, right? And that is what I didn't have set up for myself now, becoming self-employed, being an entrepreneur, small business owner, etc. I didn't have any of that stuff set up in place for myself, which ultimately I think really held me back those, again, first 3 to 6 months. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what my expectations were for myself, but I found out and realized over that time that what I had been doing was not working. And so for me now, what does that mean? I have a listing output that I'm looking for myself. How many listings, now for you or for anybody, how many listings do you want to put out weekly? What does that mean to you? And so how can you meet that goal and that number? Or if you've gone sourcing or thrifting, what is your expectation for yourself of when you're going to get those items photographed and put away, right? Do you have a schedule for yourself in that way? And I'm not a really organized person, and so having to set up a schedule for myself or have these expectations for myself was definitely an adjustment. However, that is when I saw growth in my business. So there is something to be said for us disorganized or unorganized people. There's something to be said for having systems in place. And I'm not saying from there on I've been perfect. No, I've had to tweak and adjust, and I've had to have other people come in and help me with these processes. But realizing the importance of them and getting them set up and into place really helped my business flourish to where it is, because to be honest, I don't think that if I had continued as I was in those first 36 months, which were great, I wasn't going to make the full-time income that I needed. It would have been good part-time or side hustle income for myself, but it wasn't the full-time income that I needed to replace for me to be a full-time reseller. And of course, those numbers vary from person to person. I know a lot of times people want to know, well, how much money do you need to make to be full-time, or what is your net profits and all this stuff, but it varies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what number somebody says, because your rent or your mortgage and all these different things are going to be different. The amount of groceries you need each month, how much does it cost to fill up your gas tank? All these things differ, and so it's not one size fits all in that way. So really treating this like it is the real job I needed it to be was so crucial and so important to growing my business. I think maybe I had a different idea of what full-time reselling was going to look like or to be honest, maybe I just needed a break. And I'm not saying to not take that break if you need it. Of course, give yourself grace when you need to slow down, recognizing when you need to slow down, or if you're just leaving your job. And it is a weird place. I mean, if you've been at another job and then went and became a full-time reseller, please comment down below and let me know if your experience was similar to mine, where you just had this weird, awkward time where you needed to breathe and you didn't know what to do with yourself, and you needed somebody to be like, oh, like, let's check in. Where are you at now? But maybe you also didn't need it for some period of time as well. So yeah, let me know if that resonated with you. But give yourself that time if you need it when you're transitioning over, but also be aware that there will be a drop in income. So if you're looking to go from having a different job to becoming a full-time reseller, you know, have some money built up for this kind of weird time where you don't really know maybe what you're doing with yourself, or figuring out ways to make income from all of these different platforms, because it can be scary. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this job is about making money for me, because it is a job. It's a job that I love and I'm passionate about, but it is a job that pays money to me. It's very real income in my life, and I need it. So anyways, that's my video. I hope that was helpful for you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.